Your CFO is wrong. They want to increase margin by cutting 10% of the workforce. But this is actually a double tax that's going to cost you more in the long term. It hurts velocity. And let me show you how you do this and get velocity back. So here's one of the myths. A CFO will come in and say, hey, for efficiency, we need to cut 10% of the workforce. I think over my career in high tech, I've been through a number of these reductions. They come in and say, okay, we need to cut staff by 10%. It takes them a month to go through this planning. Then they cut the staff, and then the downfall happens. What happens in there is for about 2 months, you have literally efficiency and productivity just goes through the toilet. What typically happens is at first they start protecting themselves, the different managers, how can I make the best case? And then the second part is now we have to take this 10% or 11% work, divide it among 90% of the people, and then they never count in the productivity losses. People are human. They see things. They're now going to be spending time updating their resume because cost cutting doesn't lead to growth all the time. It's great to make the quarter. It's not there for growth. And so there actually becomes a double tax. One, you have an immediate tax on productivity in the short term. Long term, you have what's called the double tax. The double tax is now you're taking 100% of the work, dividing among 90% of the people. So that's 11% more work for everybody. On top of that, you're looking at 20% decrease in productivity on that. So more work, less productivity, and what you have is a recipe for disaster. The way to solve this, especially for small, medium businesses, is something I've been terming quiet AI. Quiet AI, you'll hear the term, hey, we need invisible AI. But invisible AI is a misnomer because if you look at invisible AI, you don't tell people about it, they're going to see something's up, something that they're going to be replaced. Quiet AI means, hey, here's the strategy, here's how we're going to deploy AI, and here's how we're going to do better. Quiet AI is more about you firing the work, making AI do the tedious jobs, and giving the humans the higher level thinking jobs that is going to get you the velocity that you need. I'm not saying a layoff here, layoff there might not need to happen, but in general, layoffs for efficiency or letting people go because of you want to get better efficiency is not going to lead to that. Letting someone go because of poor performance, absolutely, you need to do that. But in focusing on this podcast today, we're going to talk about operational efficiency to achieve velocity and how sometimes if you go the layoff route, it's actually going to hurt worse and you're not going to see the margins that you're expecting to make. I'm Brandon Fears. This is SMB Growth Unlimited. Let me walk you through a couple scenarios, a couple cases that I have curated to talk about, some with customers I've worked with, some from the research that I've done on this subject. So let's talk about the double tax just a little bit more. When you fire people to save margin or to save money, hey, we've overhired here, let's fire people. What's typically going to happen, as I said in the double tax, is you're going to create bottlenecks. You're going to create more work for the people that are already stressed about things. What does that equal? You're going to create an environment where they don't feel psychologically safe to do the best work. They're going to start looking for other jobs. That means resume prep. That means interview prep, which is going to take away their focus from you achieving the velocity. So what was as an efficiency is now more about bottlenecks and doing the opposite of what the CFO wanted to do, just to make the numbers in a quarter. So when you're taking a look at this, what also happens, you lose tacit knowledge from experience. That tacit knowledge is important. That's institutional knowledge. AI can't duplicate institutional knowledge. What you want to focus on is figure out, do these two simple steps. One, talk to the people that you feel are most productive and ask them, what is the most soul-sucking drudgery work that you do today? Then you figure out, how can you get an AI employee to help take that away? That's where I go back to, you're firing the work, you're not firing the employee. What's soul-sucking to them? Then the second one is a little bit less counterintuitive. Take what is known as your laziest employee, and then ask that lazy employee to do something with drudgery in there and give him or her some tools. What you're going to find is that laziest employee is going to find the most efficient way to get things done. They're not lazy because of happenstance. They're lazy because they want to find the most efficient solution solution. And I don't mean this as a negative. Some people look at laziness as a negative. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes these employees find the most efficient way to get things done, and that's important. Could you give that person more work? Absolutely. So remember, it is what is the soul-sucking drudgery that people want? Also, find the laziest employee and ask them how to get some of these things done. What is soul-sucking for them, and what are the tools they need to get this done? That's going to combine to figure out how you perform better and get, margins. One can improve by cost cutting. They can also improve by growth. It is about total margin dollars, not always margin percentage. So you also have to take that into effect. Now let's go into the first case study about a warehouse and what the board wanted versus what was achieved. Case number one, Midwest manufacturing company. They were doing about $12 million annually in revenue. The board was looking, some of these costs are going up, margins are tightening. How do we get more efficient? We need to make sure that we keep our costs here, and our margin percentage needs to say this amount. Could we get more margin? Yeah, everybody loves more margin, but we wanted to keep it, it was decreasing a lot, so they wanted to have bigger margins. So one proposal was the warehouse was overstaffed and they needed to cut the warehouse. But when they took a deeper dive into it, it wasn't that they were overstaffed, it's that they were overstressed. They were doing a bad predictor of what needed to be there at what time and when. So this was more of an inventory problem. Could they have saved $60,000 a year by reducing the warehouse manager and moving that work up? Absolutely. But what it would have caused is now the next level employee has that much more work. I know I said earlier it's about 11% now gets distributed more, but that means everything's equal. Here's your 11%, here's your 11%, and here's your 11%. It doesn't work that way when layoffs come. One person is going to get more of that. And then you're also going to hear from another person, hey, that's not my job. That wasn't what I was hired to do. And you're going to come back with, hey, budgets are tightening, belts are tightening, you got to be a good employee. And so now you have two people automatically looking for better jobs environment. So what they discovered was that they had $42,000 in expedited shipping because of poor inventory and understanding what poor inventory. Sometimes those come from change orders. Sometimes they came from not understanding what their inventory was. They deployed a quiet AI system to take a look at their inventory and make predictions. They also did this in a way that they could go out and see what was happening. Now, this did not eliminate all the $42,000 of expedited shipping. It reduced it dramatically. What was the end result? The warehouse manager had more time to focus on how could he get more efficiencies in other areas, like at the loading docks. Some of his proposals saved 15% more time where they're more efficient. Ultimately, they were able to get more product out the door. They would have lost that efficiency by terminating or laying off this employee. What did the quiet AI find out? Hey, there was a lot of ordering they can do, so it wasn't expedited, and therefore they were financially prudent. CFO loves financial prudence. And second, they were able to predict this in a little bit better time. And so their suppliers started loving them even more because then they were getting more stable orders, not rush orders, which cost expedited shipments. So quiet AI, people knew AI was happening, typically leads to better results because the drudgery of that, the warehouse manager staying 5 p.m., calling in a panic to other people, keeping them going, upsetting people just to get the order in on time because they have to meet a certain deadline. Now that quiet AI is tied into the ERP system, it's trying to predict where are the problems going to be in the future. It's doing a great job saving, let's say 80% or 90% of the 42,000, and then also gaining the 15% efficiency on the loading dock. Ultimately, that was getting a greater benefit and increasing more margins than just saving 60,000 on the warehouse manager being laid off. Then 2 more people start looking for jobs, and that institutional knowledge goes away. Let's talk about another case where quiet AI worked. There was a regional MSP, which is short for managed service provider, which is more short for it was a smaller data center, serve their clients, host of the work. We'll call him Mike. The owner had 15 technicians. And when he was looking at it, the 2 lowest technicians were not performing well. And so as he took a look at this, decided to dig a little bit deeper. What he found is that his team of 15 technicians were drowning in the 2,000 different alerts that were coming across their desk every single day, from this application not working to this server not responding, and it was just killing them. The 2 lowest employees were the 2 newest performing, and they hadn't been trained properly because everybody was focused on getting the different items, all the tickets done so they could close it. The average wait time to get a ticket closed was 28 minutes. Customers weren't happy, so if he would have let go of those 2, then he's taking that work, dividing among the others. Guess what? Wait times go up, metrics not being met, everybody gets upset. Customers begin to probably take a look at a new MSP. Switching costs sometimes are high for the customers, but it might not happen right away. Customers will eventually switch. What were the next steps? Mike put in a quiet AI system. He did it in a way to take a look at alerts. So usually you have level 0, level 1, level 2, you have level 3, and you escalate it above. Level 0 might be a password reset. Does a human really need to do that? And so he implemented the system and here's level 0. He wanted most to be handled by AI, which it did handle, and then had a very conscientious level 1, level 2, see what technician is free, try to get this done as soon as possible. What was the ultimate result? First off, his wait times went from 28 minutes to 12 minutes. His customers liked that they could contact AI 24/7 and get results. If you had a couple issues and it was late at night, those late night texts, they got swamped. So now it went from 28 minutes to 12 minutes average wait time. Second, he was able to use that AI to run predictive analysis on what customers would have or potential tickets. Those two tech, he started a new product, which was proactive maintenance on the servers that the customers had. Ultimately, those two techs were able to upsell customers once they understood it, help them understand what was happening. And so what was going to save him money and be a cost center was now making more money because he was selling additional services that his team could focus on because they weren't drowning in tickets. So when you're taking a look at where the bottlenecks are, where the drudgery is, the drudgery was in the level 0 tickets. And he also had the metrics at how do I get this done as soon as possible. Okay, our final case is one on customer service. It is a boutique hotel hack. Sometimes margins get really thin on hotels. One, you want to get as many people in the available rooms. You want to have a high occupancy rate. Number two, to get that high occupancy rate, that also consists of many different things, but one of them is online reviews and making sure the reviews are there. Margins are thin. This owner was looking, how do I help this out? I could cut hotel staff in the later evenings and that might help, but what they found was something different. So they implemented a voice AI system, and the voice AI system was able to handle customers calling the front desk. Even though you have a booklet there, it was just easier to press 0, call the front desk and say, hey, I need more towels, or what time, how late is the pool open, or what can I do here? He put in the voice AI system. It takes training, doesn't happen overnight. They trained it, they consistently updated it, they worked with their AI provider. What were the end results? Ultimately, the desk staff workload decreased by 30%. Their wait times decreased dramatically for check-in. Why is this important? Before, customers sometimes waited 10 minutes or more. They'd get grumpy, they would get angry. How does customer service handle that? Oh, here's a free upgrade here. Here's this for free. Great, but that's margin walking out the door to keep the customers happy because they also had, hey, what are the 5-star reviews that we want to have? That's where it comes into, that's the drudgery part of it. Take away that drudgery. Now their front desk are able to greet people more. They have upsell options that they were more creative with. Hey, we can upsell this, or this. Ultimately, revenue increased. Wait times and check-in went down because they weren't having to answer the phones. You've all been through those policies. Hey, we got to pick up a phone call in 2 rings. When someone's checking in, the guest is more important who's already here. Those policies sometimes damage what the experience is. If you don't answer it in 2 rings and the guest is upset, and they leave this review that the front desk is inattentive. So instead of cutting staff, he gave them the tools they need to do the job better. Ultimately, that led to a better customer experience, which the rebookings went through the roof. That's what that customer wanted, or that's what, ultimately the customer wanted and his customers wanted, were being able to book this and take care of things faster. No one felt intimidated. No one felt they were losing their jobs because AI. He also put in there that when people called, hey, this is being answered by AI, I can handle so many of your problems, which was evident because it took away 30% of the workload that was hitting the front desk. Customers were happy because they got instantaneous answers. So it's not about using AI to cut jobs. It's about helping people become more productive by taking away the drudgery. We've gone through 3 cases. What you're seeing is, what's the drudgery? What this means is that you cannot manage from a desk, pick up a phone. One of the secrets of quiet AI is, as a business owner, as a general manager, you need to go talk to the employees. You need to see what's happening. You need to ask them, not, hey, how's your day going? That doesn't lead to much. much. Hey, what is the most drudgery part of your job and how can I help solve it? And do you have any ideas? So it's more engagement that you need. You can't take the human out of the experience. You want to see the humans empowered because they'll probably give you greater insight than you knew. Critics say that AI steals jobs, and it can. But usually when the jobs are stolen, it's more from bad management than from great management. Great management is going to harness how can AI take on the drudgery and move it up further. If people talk about invisible AI, once they find out that's AI, you didn't tell them, it will have an impact. Quiet AI means you discuss it with your team, you help them understand, you give them the safety that is going to be making you more productive. It's not about layoffs, it's about increasing efficiency and helping grow the dollars. You want to change their mindset from a shrinking narrative to a growth narrative. Being upfront makes this a lot easier to accomplish. So, what are your next steps? First off, look at your chart. Look at people who you're thinking about laying off or firing. Why is that the case? And then take a look at how can a quiet AI overcome this and go through this drudgery, help figure out what needs to happen. Then deploy quiet AI. Could be an AI employee or it could be a voice or chatbot to help your team out. If you'd like my quiet AI infrastructure map or quiet AI guide, please write quiet AI in the comments below and we'll get that guide sent to you. If you like what you're seeing, next week I'm going to be focused on AI for sales, marketing, and how we can improve. Today was focused on operational efficiency to create breakthrough velocity in your business. I'm Brandon Fears. This is SMB Growth Unlimited. Hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you see more of the videos that we post along these lines.